Have you ever looked at all the chaos in the world and wondered, what if it's not random? What if it's all part of some grand cosmic plan? Well, the source material we're digging into today presents a pretty wild theory, a theory about a massive global shift that's just around the corner. So, yeah, let's dive right in. So, right out of the gate, here's the core claim from our source. I mean, that's a huge statement, right? We're not talking about small changes. We're talking about the entire power structure we know just crumbling, and all within the next couple of years, leading to a worldwide revolution.
Okay, so when you hear a prediction that massive, you've got to ask, right? Who's saying this, and how in the world are they coming up with it? Is this some think tank, an economic forecast? Nope. The answer our source gives, well, it's not what you'd expect.
The source for all this is a psychic communicator, so let's take a look at who this person is and the pretty unconventional methods he says he's using to get this information.
All right, so the person we're talking about is Brad Johnson. He's apparently been doing this since 2008, and his methods are, well, they're out there. He claims to channel non-human entities, one named Adronis, who's supposedly Assyrian, another called Athena from Inner Earth, and on top of that, he uses tools like tarot and something called the Akashic Records.
So you're probably wondering, what in the world are the Akashic Records? Well, according to the source, think of it like a cosmic internet, a giant universal library containing everything that's ever happened, been thought, or even intended. But the key thing here is how Johnson says he accesses it. It's not about seeing some movie play out. He says he changes his brainwaves, goes into this super deep meditative state, and the information just kind of pops into his head, like these intuitive impressions or sudden moments of just knowing something.
Okay, so now we know who is making these predictions and how. Let's get into the what. At the very heart of all this is a massive conflict. And we're not just talking politics here. This is framed as a full-on cosmic battle for the future of our planet.
So, who's in this fight? According to the source, it all boils down to two major sides, two big factions with completely opposite goals for all of us here on Earth.
All right, in one corner, you've got what the source calls the deep state. Think centralized systems, corrupt agendas, secret societies, the whole shebang. But here's a really interesting tidbit. The claim is that they're not just being fought from the outside. They're actually starting to fight each other over resources. And then, in the other corner, you have the counterforces. And this is quite a team. We're talking benevolent ETs, future human guardians, ancient gods who are supposedly making a comeback, and all sorts of human and off-world task forces.
But here's the thing. This isn't just a ground war happening here on Earth. The source claims the whole thing is getting a massive boost. It's being supercharged by some very specific things happening out in space. These cosmic events are supposedly the catalyst for everything.
And one of the key players in this cosmic drama, a comet, specifically Comet 3I/Atlas. But as you can probably guess, the source says this is no ordinary chunk of ice and rock just flying through space.
So get this. The comet is described as being engineered. It's a tool steered by ETs. Its job is to be a seed planter or a change bringer. As it passes by planets, including Earth and Mars, it apparently leaves behind these little pieces of information in the atmosphere. It's like it's giving the whole planet a frequency upgrade. And the result? It's supposed to trigger an opening of the veils, making it easier for us to see and feel things that are normally hidden.
Okay, so you've got a cosmic battle and a cosmic catalyst. The big question is, where does this all lead? Well, the source doesn't just give a vague answer. It lays out a very, very specific timeline for this global transformation.
All right, let's look at the timeline. It all kicks off in 2026. This is called the Year of the Fire Horse, and it's when we're supposed to see mass global revolutions that completely overthrow the leadership we have now. Then, right after that, in 2027, we hit a fulcrum point. This is when the floodgates open on disclosure. We're talking big reveals about extraterrestrial life and all the history that's been hidden from us. And all of this builds to 2038. The singularity shift. That's described as the end of our reality as we know it, and the start of a whole new universe.
But this isn't just about changing governments or learning about aliens. According to the source, all of this is leading to something even more profound, a fundamental change in us, an evolution of human consciousness itself.
So to really get a grip on what this evolution means, we have to talk about our energetic bodies. Right now, the source says we operate with 7 primary energy centers. You've probably heard of them, chakras. They're said to be the system that runs our whole physical and spiritual experience.
But the prediction is that after that big shift in 2038, we're going to get an upgrade. We're going to move from a 7-chakra system to a 12-chakra system. And this is where it gets really interesting. Because what these 5 news centers connect us to, well, it's pretty cosmic.
So check this out. The expansion is huge. The 8th chakra connects us to the planet, to the Earth itself. The 9th connects us to our star, the Sun. The 10th, to the entire galaxy. The 11th connects us to the universe. And finally, the 12th is all about unity, a connection to our deepest soul. And to top it all off, the source claims that new kids will start being born with 12-strand DNA to match this new energetic hardware.
So you might be thinking, okay, this is all pretty far out. Is there any sign of this happening now? Well, the source points to things like the Mandela effect. You know, when tons of people have the same false memory about something from the past. The idea here is that these aren't just glitches in our memory. They're actually symptoms, evidence that different timelines are starting to merge together as we head towards that big shift.
And really, that brings us to the final, kind of mind-bending question, doesn't it? If timelines really are merging, if reality is this fluid thing right now, it really makes you think, which version of reality do you remember? And what does that say about the world you started in?